People often assume that the quiet person in the room has nothing to say, but psychology suggests the opposite. Very often, the people who speak the least are actually processing the most. While others are talking, their brain is doing something different, observing, cannot, almost like their mind is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And if you're someone who doesn't talk much, there's a good chance you've been misunderstood your whole life. But there's something fascinating about quiet minds that most people completely miss. And once you understand it, silence starts to look less like a weakness and more like a hidden advantage. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a group conversation where everyone is talking non-stop, but you're mostly listening? Not because you're shy, not because you have nothing to say, but because your mind is analyzing everything that's happening. The tone of voices, the body language, the hidden tension between certain people. And by the time you've processed it all, the conversation has already moved on. If that sounds familiar, you're not broken. Your brain may simply be wired differently. In fact, psychology suggests that people who speak less often have very specific cognitive patterns. And the third one explains why quiet people are often underestimated. Quiet people tend to observe first, speak later. Their brain is constantly collecting data, micro-expressions, tone changes, social dynamics. While others are participating in the conversation, they're studying it. Think of it like this. Most people experience conversations like watching a movie, but some people experience them like watching the director's cut with commentary. They're noticing details most people miss. Who interrupts who? Who seems uncomfortable? Who's pretending to agree? Psychologists sometimes call this high observational processing. But in everyday language, it simply means your brain is running a deeper analysis in the background. And that's only the beginning, because there's another reason quiet people don't always jump into conversations. Some people talk in order to think. Others think before they talk. If you belong to the second group, your brain tends to filter information first. You weigh the consequences of words. You ask yourself, is this useful to say? Is this meaningful? Will this actually add something? And if the answer is no, you stay quiet. Not because you can't speak, but because you refuse to fill silence with noise. And here's something interesting. Research on cognitive processing shows that some brains prefer internal dialogue over external dialogue, meaning your thoughts are often happening inside, not out loud. So while someone else may say 10 things without thinking, you might say one thing, but that one thing has been carefully processed. And this leads to something else most people misunderstand. Quiet people are rarely quiet everywhere. Have you noticed that? Around certain people, they suddenly talk a lot. Around others, almost nothing. Why? Because many quiet individuals are selective communicators. They don't crave constant interaction. They crave meaningful interaction. Imagine your social energy like a battery. Some people have a battery that drains slowly. Others have a battery that drains quickly. If you're the second type, your brain becomes very careful about where that energy goes. Surface-level conversations feel exhausting, but deep conversations, those can go on for hours. And there's another hidden reason this happens, one that most people completely misunderstand. For some quiet people, the world is simply louder. Not literally louder, but neurologically richer. Psychologists sometimes call this high sensory processing sensitivity, But here's a simpler way to understand it. Imagine living life in IMAX 8K while everyone else is watching in 480p. Every detail is sharper, every emotional signal stronger, every environment more intense. Crowded rooms, multiple conversations, background noise. Your brain isn't just hearing one thing, it's processing everything at once. Which means staying quiet sometimes isn't withdrawal, it's regulation. Your brain slowing things down so it can process the world properly. And this leads to one of the biggest myths about quiet people. Many people believe that quiet individuals are shy, insecure, antisocial. But psychology tells a more complicated story. Silence does not automatically mean fear. Sometimes silence means evaluation. Sometimes silence means strategic thinking. Sometimes silence means someone is absorbing more information than the average conversation requires. Think about the calmest person in a meeting, the one who listens the most, and then, at the perfect moment, says one sentence that suddenly shifts the entire discussion. Have you noticed that person? That's often the quiet one. But here's the twist that surprises many people. When quiet people finally speak, people often listen more carefully. Why? Because rarity creates weight. If someone talks constantly, their words blend into the background. But when someone speaks rarely, their words stand out. Their voice carries more attention, more curiosity, more perceived authority. In psychology, this is sometimes related to scarcity bias. The less frequent something is, the more valuable it appears, which means quiet people often have an unexpected advantage. Their words carry impact. But there's one final idea about silence that most people never consider. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, being quiet can look like a disadvantage. But look closer. Silence can mean observation. Silence can mean reflection. Silence can mean your mind is connecting dots others haven't even noticed yet. You're not slow, you're not disengaged, and you're definitely not broken. Your brain may simply be running a different operating system, one that values depth over noise. And maybe that's why, throughout history, some of the most insightful thinkers have often been the quiet ones in the room. So the next time someone asks you, "Why are you so quiet?" you might smile, because what they interpret as silence may actually be a mind working at full speed.